Do you speak crowdlending? Welcome to our podcast covering the crowdlending industry. Our mission is to provide you with all the insights from this market and help you make informed decisions. I'm Gassan, co-founder and CEO of Acredius. We are a crowdlending platform based in Zurich, Switzerland. I'm delighted to host this podcast and hopefully bring value to all our listeners. Hi everyone, I'm glad today to have Jori with us. Jori Armbuster is CEO of EthicHub. We are very happy to have him with us today in these kind of special times. We're doing this our first podcast episode with distance, so let's see how it goes. So Jori, welcome to Do You Speak Crowdlending.
Oh, thank you very much for inviting. As I told you, I am very happy to be here and I am very aligned with what you are doing, trying to spread the word of crowdlending, especially in these tough times with the coronavirus thing, right?
Very good. Thank you very much for being in this show. So, Jori, I don't want to introduce you myself. So can you tell us a bit more about what you're doing so far with EthicHub? But let's start first by you.
Okay, so I am son of Mexican German mother and a Spanish German father, and I grew up between these two worlds, between Mexico and Spain. My mother has a coffee farm in Mexico, and so I know about coffee. I love coffee. I love agriculture stuff. And in the other side, I was also living in Spain for most of my life. So I know Europe. I know what's the problems in Europe. And one thing I never understood is why a same company has to pay 10 times more interest in Mexico than in Spain. No? And even worse with smallholder farmers, no? That they are solvent, they pay, and how come it's possible they pay so huge interest when they are good payers, and the currency risk, it doesn't explain this huge difference. I mean, they pay 5 to 10% monthly. So that's why after when I decided to start my own company, I decided to focus into this problem, no, helping smallholder farmers, coffee producers, is something I know, to contact them, connect them with European lenders so they can lend them money, be very happy because they can earn super good return, and that's it.
That's great. So, Jori, I looked a little bit also about your career and so on. And so I understand a little bit from farming. You did also a little bit of M&A to blockchain to crowdlending. Can you please walk us through these transitions, basically?
Yeah. So my first job was helping my mother with the coffee farm. So then this was when I was finishing the university, and afterwards I went to Spain and I entered a company. In that moment were like 400 employees, a wholesaler company for construction materials, nothing to see with financial stuff. And in that company I started in human resources, but I was taking more and more responsibilities. The last was being the M&A responsible. We managed to buy some competitors into a integration process, into a consolidation of the wholesaler market in Spain that was super fragmented. And finally, I was the CEO of that company that when we arrived, 800 employees, something like that. No? After that with the Spanish crisis hit massively the construction sector in Spain. It fails over 90%, even 95% in some subsectors. That we decided to basically stop operations, sell the sales points to all the European players that wanted to, multinational companies, no? Big companies that don't have the problems we were having with banks, because at the end also the banks were with problems in Spain in that moment, and start my own thing. No, in that company I was just an employee. I was the CEO.
Good. So from there you started EthicHub, or you had another step in between?
No, in between I took 1 year traveling around the world. I did a master about innovation. And then this is when I fall in love with blockchain. This is when I was looking for which were the most important problems in the world to be solved, and where could I add value to that problem, to solve that problem. So, and this is basically the conclusion of that year, EthicHub.
Okay. So tell us more about EthicHub. So what does EthicHub offer? So I understand it's a crowdlending platform for farmers, but yeah, tell me more, please.
So it's more than that, because in one side is a crowdlending platform, but since this is small farmers, the loans are quite small. I mean, it's $1,000 per year, the first year per farmer. And they live far from the city, so it's expensive to go to make the onboarding and everything, and the due diligence. So we arrived to the conclusion we had to do at least 2 businesses when we go to these communities. So we integrated we do not only the lending side, but also the selling side of their product. So we have 2 fees. We have a fee in the loan, and we have a fee in the product sale. And that way is much easier for us to be profitable. And for the lender is quite better, because they know the borrower will be solvent, because he will be selling their crops in good conditions, right?
Very interesting. So you basically, in terms of due diligence, it makes it way easier because you are managing the revenue at the end of the day. So so the pricing of the loan would be easier, and it gives a little bit more of, let's say, confidence, credibility, and trust from the side of the lender, right?
Exactly. And the price of the loan, basically what we do is, what is the fair price, or what a lender should ask for the risk they are taking, because this is a Mexican denominated loan in the other side of the world, etc. No? And we arrived to the conclusion 15% is a reasonable number. More than that looks like a scam also. But our farmers could pay even more, because they were used to pay 5 to 10 monthly.
Wow. Great. And now, so from farmers to blockchain. So how does blockchain help EthicHub offer better service?
Basically, it's 2 things or 3 things. In one side is making the financial transactions public and transparent and immutable. So when you are lending to a farmer, you are doing it through a smart contract. So, and this is the second advantage. We don't touch the money. Instead of using Lemonway or some other service provider that take care of the money, in our case, is a software. It's a program over Ethereum network that is managing the money. We don't have access to the money. And the third advantage at the end is also that it automatizes some processes. So it helps us to be more productive, more profitable, more efficient. Right?
Interesting. So in your own words, I read, you said EthicHub is a fair global crowdlending system for the unbanked farmers. What do you see particular to farmers crowdlending as compared to other verticals? Let's say, consumer, real estate, SMEs in general. I understand that farmers are part of your background anyway, but what's specific to them?
For me, it is, as I was telling before, where could I value in the farmer side? But it's not only that. It is because at the end, we are trying to help unbanked people to join global economy, and most of the unbanked are farmers. And there are many projects focused on financial inclusion, but 90% or 99% are focused on data, on mobile, on cities, basically, on urban areas. Very few are focused on agriculture. So we see this for sure as a more complicated thing, but also as the greatest opportunity. It's like a blue ocean of opportunity because it's huge market. Over 1 billion people is unbanked farmers, and super low competitiveness because there are very few projects working into this.
Very, very interesting. So let's speak now from the investor perspective. What do you think are the main advantages of this asset class, of crowdlending as such?
For me, crowdlending is maybe the best asset class in the world. I think we could agree on that.
Definitely. Tell me more.
No, but it's not like I am telling my story, but because I truly believe it. In the long term, the stock market has proven to be super, maybe the best asset class in the world until now, because it does about 8% yearly, but with a problem. That this year, for example, it went down to 30%. No, and so it will take some years to recover to last year's stock volume, right? Crowdlending, I am pretty confident in the long term will prove that we can make around that numbers in a sustainable and long-term way, but with the advantage that with the crisis won't fail 30%. So it will be much more stable. No, maybe the defaults increase, and that year the net interest, the net return is zero, but not minus 30 or minus 40%. Right. Yeah. So the volatility is will be much less. If, for sure, as a lender, you do your job, no, and you choose good platforms, and especially you diversify. For me, it's key, absolutely key for a lender to diversify in many different platforms and kind of projects.
I mean, diversify, that's clearly one great advice. But what would be your advice to any private investor trying to discover this new asset class? Maybe let's understand now from your perspective, what would you advise when someone wants to try or start investing in crowdlending using cryptocurrency?
Using cryptocurrency for me is, we don't call it even crypto. We are using a stable coin called DAI, whose value is $1. So you can say we are dollar-based crowdlending. No, we don't like to call ourselves crypto, but it is in one side is a problem. Not a problem. It's a friction for the users, because you have to take care as a user, a huge responsibility that is your private keys. When you have crypto, when you have a blockchain wallet, and in EthicHub you are having your own blockchain wallet, that means not even us have access to your private keys. If you lose your private keys, you lose your money. That has a huge advantage because nobody else in the world can take control of your funds. But in the other side, it's a huge responsibility. because if you lose your private keys, nobody can help you to restore your wallet.
Yeah.
But in the long term, I mean, there are some projects already working on social recovery, and we will implement that to reduce the problem or the afraid the user are of this situation. No? And in the other side, for me, in the long term, everything will be blockchain based. Every value transaction in the world will be done through a financial system working over blockchain, meaning every financial transaction will be done with crypto, but maybe will be crypto Swiss francs created by the government and not decentralized crypto.
I see. Well, great. So since we're speaking about farmers and crypto, I have kind of an out-of-the-box question to end this quick and to-the-point episode, which is, I'm really curious, out of all what you're doing in your life with EthicHub, with cryptocurrency and so on, I'm really curious, what is your favorite fruit?
Favorite fruit?
Yes.
So you don't know anything about fruits in Europe. In Chiapas, you can't imagine the fruits we have. It's amazing. And it's very difficult to choose one, but I would say mamey is maybe my favorite one.
Mamey, I'm sorry, I don't know this fruit. Can you explain? Is mamey?
Mamey is like, I don't know, it's different fruit. It's completely different. It's difficult to describe a fruit you don't know.
Okay, so it's a different fruit. You're the first person in this podcast who chooses mamey. So with that, I want really to thank you, Jori, for being part of this podcast, for sharing your experience and a bit more information about EthicHub and how it works. Anything you would like to add?
To complement what I was saying regarding blockchain, no, is why we sometimes look to freaky with the blockchain thing. For me, it's like next step of human evolution in the way that we will be able to make a step forward into trust, because now there is three-entry accounting, and that was never possible before. And this will help us to run out of corruption, but also will increase the trust in every financial transaction. And this, we just don't see where it will end, because with a first iteration of accounting, that is single entry accounting, we were able to start civilizations. With second entry accounting, we were able to start companies from Renaissance, and now we have three entry accounting, and we just can't not envision now where this will end up. But I'm pretty sure this will change everything. It just takes time, as it took to internet. It's the similar thing, no? That with internet, at the beginning, everybody was saying, wow, this will change everything. And then was the bubble, and then was the burst of the bubble. And then people say, this was nothing. This was just a scam. No, it didn't work for anything. And afterwards, Facebook, Google, Amazon, and company changed the world, basically. No? So I'm pretty sure this is the same.
That's great. Thank you very much for sharing these views, Jori. Thank you, everyone, who are still listening to us during these, let's say, difficult times. Please keep tuned, and thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Thank you for inviting.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks again for staying with us until the end.
Make sure you subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media so you never miss an episode. Please don't hesitate to send us your questions and comments at egregious.ch. Thank you.